More than 2 decades have passed since 3 sisters first discovered they were the most powerful witches in the world, and the cast's real lives brought one devastating death, one of Hollywood's most notorious on-set feuds, a transformation from actress to activist that helped change the world, and one woman who spent nearly a decade fighting cancer while the rest of the industry watched. Let's see where they are in 2026.
Number 1. Shannen Doherty as Prue Halliwell. Born in 1971, Shannen was 26 years old when she became Prue Halliwell, the eldest charmed sister, the most powerful, the most controlled, the one whose death in the season 3 finale shocked viewers and ended one of the show's founding chapters. By the time Charmed began, Shannen Doherty already had a reputation that preceded her, from Beverly Hills 90210, where she had been fired after constant conflicts, and from tabloid headlines that followed her everywhere. The Charmed set was, by multiple accounts, a difficult working environment, and the conflict between Shannen and co-star Alyssa Milano was the central tension. Both women have given different accounts of what happened. What is documented is that after season 3, the producers gave Shannen a choice, and she left, or was pushed out, depending on who you ask.
What followed was one of the most publicly documented cancer battles in Hollywood history. In 2015, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She announced it in 2016. She went into remission in 2017. In 2020, she announced the cancer had returned as stage 4. It had spread to her bones and eventually to her brain. She had surgery. She kept recording her podcast, Let's Be Clear. The final episode went up on July 8th, 2024. 5 days later, on July 13th, 2024, Shannen Doherty died at her home in Malibu, California. She was 53 years old. Her closest friend from the Charmed set, Holly Marie Combs, was devastated. "I will love you," Holly wrote, "for all of my days."
If you watched our Beverly Hills 90210 video, you already know Shannen's full story. But on this show, she was something different. The founding sister, the first power, the one whose absence the show never fully recovered from.
Number 2, Alyssa Milano as Phoebe Halliwell. Born in 1973, Alyssa was 24 when she became Phoebe Halliwell, the youngest sister, the most impulsive, the one who fell in love with a demon and spent 8 seasons being the show's most emotionally unpredictable character. She appeared in all 178 episodes, more than any other cast member. For years after the show ended, Alyssa Milano was primarily known as the person who had feuded with Shannen Doherty, a narrative she has spoken about in recent years with more nuance, acknowledging the conflict while also accepting her own part in it. Then, in October 2017, everything changed.
In response to the flood of allegations against Harvey Weinstein, a tweet went viral that Alyssa Milano sent encouraging women to respond "Me Too" to share their own experiences of sexual harassment and assault. The hashtag became one of the most significant social media moments of the decade, amplifying a movement that the activist Tarana Burke had founded years earlier. Alyssa Milano became a prominent face of the Me Too movement, a political activist, a regular presence at Democratic campaign events, and someone whose public identity had shifted entirely from actress to advocate. She has been married to talent agent David Bugliari since 2009, and they have 2 children. Now 52 years old, Alyssa Milano is one of the most politically visible former television stars in America.
Number 3. Rose McGowan as Paige Matthews. Born in 1973, Rose was 28 when she joined Charmed in season 4 as Paige Matthews, the half-sister replacement for the departed Prue Halliwell, a character who had to earn the trust of both the remaining sisters on screen and the millions of viewers who had loved Shannen Doherty. She spent 5 seasons doing exactly that, becoming one of the show's most beloved characters in her own right. After Charmed ended in 2006, Rose built a film and television career across the following decade.
She appeared in Grindhouse, Conan the Barbarian, and various other projects. And then in October 2017, the same month as Alyssa Milano's viral tweet, Rose McGowan became one of the first and most vocal women to publicly accuse Harvey Weinstein of rape.
Her accusation was among the most significant of the Me Too era. She had been carrying this secret for over 2 decades. She wrote a memoir called Brave in 2018. She became a public speaker and advocate for survivors of sexual violence. The transformation from the actress who had spent 8 seasons fighting fictional demons on Charmed to the woman who stood up in real life against one of Hollywood's most powerful men is one of the most complete reinventions in this entire cast series. Now, 52 years old, Rose McGowan lives in Mexico and has largely distanced herself from Hollywood entirely, on her own terms and for her own reasons.
Number 4. Holly Marie Combs as Piper Halliwell. Born in 1973, Holly was 24 when she became Piper Halliwell, the middle sister, the most grounded, the one who ran the nightclub and eventually became the most powerful witch of the 3, while somehow remaining the most relatable. She appeared in all 178 episodes alongside Alyssa Milano. Holly Marie Combs was Shannen Doherty's closest friend on set and in life, a friendship that survived the show's cancellation, Shannon's firing, the public feuds, and the decades in between.
When Shannen died on July 13th, 2024, Holly's grief was public and profound. She posted, "I will love you for all of my days." Holly has been married twice, has 3 sons, and has continued working in television in the years since Charmed ended. She co-hosts a Charmed Rewatch podcast and has spoken openly about the difficulties of revisiting a show whose memory is now permanently inseparable from loss. Now 52 years old, Holly Marie Combs is the keeper of the show's most important friendship.
Number 5. Brian Krause as Leo Wyatt. Born in 1969, Brian was 28 when he joined Charmed as Leo Wyatt, the sister's white lighter guardian who became Piper's great love across the show's entire run and appeared in over 170 episodes. After Charmed, Brian continued working steadily in television and independent film productions without the same level of public visibility as his co-stars. He has spoken warmly about his time on the show in interviews and podcast appearances, including on the Rewatch podcast with Holly and Alyssa. Now, 56 years old, Brian Krause is one of Charm's quieter alumni, someone who gave 8 years to a show that defined a generation of fantasy television, and who has moved through the decades since with considerably less tabloid turbulence than most of his castmates.
Shannen Doherty, fired, fighting, recording podcasts until 5 days before she died at 53. Alyssa Milano, 178 episodes, a hashtag that changed the world, and still one of the most politically active women in Hollywood. Rose McGowan, 5 seasons as a witch, and then one of the most courageous acts of real-world bravery in the history of the entertainment industry. Holly Marie Combs, still grieving, still honest, still the keeper of the show's most important relationship. And Brian Krause, quietly watching from the wings. Charmed was a show about the power of sisters. The real power in this story turns out to belong to every one of the women who survived it, in very different ways and at very different costs. Which cast member's journey moved you the most? Drop it in the comments and subscribe. We have so much more coming.